Welcome to Unwrap Reality, where we narrate stories on things that happen in real life.
What do you do when the person who swore to stand by your side is secretly keeping a piece of their heart tied to someone else? That's the question I found myself asking one cold, sleepless night as I stared at her phone screen. Messages from him, glowing like neon signs pointing toward betrayal. It wasn't just the text that gutted me, it was the lies. The way she'd look me in the eye and say, "It's nothing," while her fingers danced over the keyboard, crafting words meant for him. This moment didn't just shatter my trust. It changed everything about how I saw us. And now, sitting here alone, I can't help but wonder, how did we get here? I'm Alex Carter, a graphic designer living in Chicago. On paper, life looked good. I had a thriving career, a cozy apartment with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Lake Michigan, and Emma, the woman I thought I'd grow old with. People always said we were #couple goals, smart, ambitious, and madly in love. At least, that's what I believed. My days revolved around creating designs that told stories, logos, posters, websites, but my nights belonged to Emma. She was my anchor, my muse, the person who made coming home feel like stepping into sunlight after a long winter. Emma is complicated. She's magnetic, the kind of person who lights up every room she walks into. Her laugh could fill an entire space. Her smile disarm even the toughest critics. But there's a quiet intensity beneath her charm, a need to control things, even emotions. At first, I admired it. Now, I see it differently. Maybe it's because I've always been the opposite, laid back, trusting almost to a fault. I trusted her completely, or so I thought. She's fiercely independent, yet tender when the moment calls for it. And while I love those contrasts about her, they also left me feeling unsure at times. Was she hiding something? Or was I just overthinking everything? Our days followed a comfortable rhythm. Morning coffee together, work calls during lunch, and quiet evenings curled up on the couch watching old movies. But lately, something felt off. Her phone buzzed more often than usual, and she started slipping away to take calls behind closed doors. When I asked, she laughed it off, saying, "You're being paranoid." Was I? Or was she hiding something bigger? One night, as I watched her slip out onto the balcony to answer yet another call, I couldn't shake the feeling that our perfect little world was starting to crack, and I wasn't sure how much longer I could ignore it. The cracks began showing slowly. At first, they were barely noticeable. A missed date night here, an unexplained charge on our joint account there. Then came the excuses: work ran late, or I forgot my charger at the office. Every explanation seemed plausible until I noticed patterns forming. Always the same coffee shop receipts. Always around the same time each week. It was subtle, easy to dismiss if you weren't looking closely. But I was looking. One evening, I heard her laugh softly from the other room. It wasn't the polite chuckle she gave coworkers. It was warm, intimate, the kind of laugh reserved for someone special. When I walked in, she quickly ended the call, brushing it off as just a friend. Just a friend? Somehow, those 3 words stung worse than if she'd admitted the truth. Suspicion gnawed at me. Who was this friend? Why did their conversations leave her glowing in ways I hadn't seen in months? Unable to shake the feeling that something was wrong, I started paying closer attention. Late-night texts became more frequent, always accompanied by secretive glances and hurried typing whenever I entered the room. One night, unable to sleep, I scrolled through old photos on her phone. Most were harmless snapshots of vacations and family gatherings. But then I found one, a picture of her and him, smiling like no one else existed. My stomach dropped. If this was just nostalgia, why did it feel like a knife twisting in my chest? Doubt crept in, planting seeds of mistrust that grew faster than I could contain them. What was she keeping from me? And how far was I willing to go to find out? The breaking point came on a rainy Tuesday afternoon, the kind of day where the world outside feels heavy and gray. I couldn't shake this nagging feeling in my gut, like something was lurking just beneath the surface, waiting to explode. Unable to sleep or focus, I decided to check her phone again, not because I wanted to invade her privacy, but because I needed answers. This time, I didn't have to dig deep. Their conversations stared back at me, glowing brightly against the dimness of our bedroom. Each message felt like a punch to the gut. They weren't casual check-ins or friendly banter. They were intimate, raw, filled with longing and regret. The final message hit hardest. Maybe we should meet soon. Just to talk. Talk about what? Rekindling something they left unfinished? Or worse, planning a future without me? My hands trembled as I scrolled further, uncovering months, maybe even years, of hidden exchanges. I felt like the ground had been ripped out from under me. Betrayal isn't just anger, it's grief. Grief for the future you thought you had, for the person you thought you loved. I wanted to scream, to confront her, to demand an explanation that would make sense of this mess. But instead, I sat there numb, scrolling through years of messages I never knew existed. Had she ever truly chosen me? Did she marry me out of love or obligation? Every memory we shared suddenly felt tainted, rewritten by doubt. That night, I lay awake, replaying every moment, searching for signs I'd missed. Was our entire marriage built on a lie? And if it was, could I ever forgive her, or myself, for letting it happen? Something inside me snapped. If Emma could lie to my face, then I could play games too. At first, revenge felt foreign to me. I wasn't the type to hold grudges or plot schemes. But betrayal has a way of changing people, twisting them into versions of themselves they barely recognize. I started small, testing the waters. I canceled shared subscriptions, changed passwords, anything to disrupt her sense of control. Watching her frustration mount gave me a twisted kind of satisfaction. For the first time in months, I felt alive. But revenge isn't satisfying unless it cuts deep. I hired a private investigator to dig into her ex-boyfriend's past, hoping to find dirt that would ruin both of them. Meanwhile, I planted fake evidence suggesting I was seeing someone else, a coworker, maybe, or an old flame rekindled. Let her feel what it's like to doubt everything, to wonder if she's losing the person she loves most. Every move felt calculated, empowering. As the days turned into weeks, I became consumed by my plan. I tracked their movements, piecing together fragments of their lives like a puzzle. The PI uncovered details about her ex that shocked even me. He wasn't some harmless guy pining for the past. He had skeletons in his closet, secrets that could destroy him. Armed with this knowledge, I prepared to strike. Yet, a nagging voice whispered in the back of my mind, "Are you becoming the villain in your own story?" I ignored it. Revenge isn't about fairness, it's about balance. Or so I told myself. Still, deep down, I wondered if I was crossing a line I couldn't come back from. Everything changed the day Emma discovered my plan. She found receipts for the PI hidden in my desk drawer and confronted me, furious. "How dare you spy on me?" she shouted, tears streaming down her face. "You think you're innocent in all this?" Her words cut deeper than I expected, not because of their venom, but because of the truth buried within them. Then came the bombshell. Her ex wasn't reaching out because he wanted her back. He was dying. Cancer. Stage 4. He'd reached out to say goodbye, to apologize for the pain he'd caused her years ago. She'd stayed silent out of fear. Fear that I'd judge her for holding on to feelings for him, for caring about someone who once meant the world to her. Suddenly, my carefully constructed narrative crumbled. All this time, I'd assumed the worst, painting her as a cheater, a liar, a betrayer. But maybe the real betrayal was mine. Still, guilt doesn't erase pain. We argued for hours, neither willing to back down. She accused me of paranoia, manipulation, of turning into someone unrecognizable. And maybe she was right. As the fight escalated, I realized how far I'd strayed from the man I used to be. The man who trusted her, who believed in us. By the end, we were exhausted, strangers sharing the same space. As she stormed out of the apartment, slamming the door behind her, I realized something terrifying. Karma doesn't care who's right or wrong. It punishes everyone equally. That night, alone in our empty home, I replayed her confession over and over in my head. What if I'd listened instead of jumping to conclusions? What if I'd trusted her enough to let her explain? The questions haunted me, gnawing at the edges of my resolve. Revenge may have given me power, but it also cost me everything. Weeks passed without a word from Emma. Our separation became official, though neither of us filed for divorce. I spent my days replaying our fights, wondering where it all went wrong. Did I push too hard? Should I have trusted her more? Then, one morning, a letter arrived. It was short, handwritten, and signed simply. "Thank you for showing me who I really am." At first, I thought it was closure, a final goodbye. But as I read it again, I noticed something strange. The tone wasn't angry or bitter, it was grateful. What if Emma wasn't thanking me for exposing her secrets? What if she was thanking me for forcing her to confront hers? Sitting there, staring at her words, I couldn't shake the feeling that maybe redemption wasn't out of reach after all. Or maybe I was just fooling myself again. Either way, I knew one thing for sure. Trust, once broken, leaves scars that never fully heal.